Back when weapon rarities were first introduced back in Black Ops Cold War, it seemed like they were going to completely change the way you played zombies. And at the time, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty sold on the idea of weapon rarities. But now that we've had this system a lot more, and we've had a lot more games with this system, I'm now starting to wonder what even is the point of weapon rarities anymore. Don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily hate weapon rarities, but I feel like they're getting a little bit repetitive at this point. Not only that, but the whole purpose of them introducing weapon rarities in the first place was to try and make more guns viable in high rounds. But after years of playing, weapon rarities have become, well, kind of boring. Not because they're bad, but they're incredibly one-dimensional.
It's boring. You're boring, everybody. Quit boring everyone!
Now, to be fair, weapon rarities weren't just added for no reason. In older zombies games, if you spawned in with a weak pistol or wall weapon, it usually became useless pretty quickly. And the weapon rarity system basically changed that because now almost every weapon could stay viable if you invested enough salvage into it. And on paper, that is absolutely great. Because on paper, it allows players to have the freedom to use basically whatever gun they want, pretty much. The biggest issue I have with the rarity system is, let's be honest, when was the last time that you upgraded your rarity because you thought it would be fun? Honestly, you probably don't, and you probably just mostly upgrade your gun because the game eventually forces you to anyway. There's never really a moment where you're actually making an interesting decision. You're really just increasing a damage number in that point. And that's the issue, is that not only that does every rarity upgrade feel like it's the same, but I also feel like the game forcing you to upgrade your rarity at a certain point really doesn't create much player choice, as if I wanted to leave my rarity at an epic, I would be at a huge disadvantage as it would just keep my gun really weak. There's almost never a situation where you sit there and think, maybe I should leave this weapon at rare, because doing that just means you're making your weapon weaker for absolutely no reason. Like, it gets to a point where it's not really a player decision at that point. You're just literally forced to upgrade if you want to kill zombies at all. Another issue I have with rarities is it feels like a chore on top of another chore on top of another chore of a checklist of stuff that you have to do. You have to buy all of your perks, you have to upgrade your armor, you have to get pack-a-punch, you have to increase your weapon rarity, you also have to buy ammo mods and stuff like that. Like, you never really feel like you're making a decision because you want to make that decision. You always feel like you make decisions because you absolutely have to succeed in the game. Like, it's just all things you're expected to do before you get to the high round. Like, instead of creating different play styles, I feel like most of the time it just funnels player up the same upgrade path. Which, again, there isn't anything inherently wrong with that. It's just eventually it starts to make every match feel like they're so similar to each other. The other thing that's really weird to me about the weapon rarity system is, and I could be wrong, but didn't Pack-a-Punch already fill the role of what weapon rarities are supposed to do? Because in the older games, all you had to do was just Pack-a-Punch your gun one time and it greatly increased the damage of the weapon. And in Black Ops 4, you were able to Pack-a-Punch your gun multiple times where you could greatly increase the damage that way on it. Which I actually think makes a lot more sense than having all of these weird, complicated systems in the game. But now your weapon has multiple Pack-a-Punch levels, multiple rarity upgrades that you have to put on your gun, and a bunch of ammo mods as well. Which some people genuinely do enjoy having more progression, but others do feel like this system is a little bit just too complicated, and I completely agree. Especially for someone who has never touched zombies before in their life, they're not even gonna know what an arsenal machine or a weapon rarity even is. Like, it's just a lot of complicated systems that people have to remember, and it's overwhelming. Another issue I have with the rarity system is the fact that a legendary upgrade, to me, in my opinion, doesn't really feel like a legendary upgrade. Like, orange is supposed to be the best rarity, yet to me, it seems like there's like little to no difference between an epic and a legendary rarity for some reason. Not only that, but it also just doesn't feel super special when you work towards a legendary anyway, because you know every single player is going to get up to that point anyway, and when everybody has the highest rarity, it kind of stops feeling special a little bit. It's not a reward system, but it's just, like I said, it's another just checklist of things that you have to do to set up in the map. Honestly, one thing that would be really cool is if they took the rarities out of the arsenal machine and made it more like Modern Warfare Zombies, where you had to get wrenches and stuff out of the box or pick up wrenches or something. That would be a lot more fun in my opinion. But it would also make it less of a checklist thing you have to do and more of a special upgrade that you can get for killing zombies, a certain amount of zombies or something. Because at least that way, it would make the rarity system feel a little more special, and it would make it feel less like a checklist, like I said. But at the same time, I also understand why weapon rarities are in there in the first place. They basically wanted to balance the game better. And I completely understand that, but at the same time, sometimes when they want to balance the game, it makes it a lot less fun. Like, that's, for example, that's why a lot of people like the original Modern Warfare 2 so much, is because that game was broken as hell. Now, weapon rarities aren't all bad, as they do serve the function that they're supposed to, where they essentially make shittier guns more viable, that they can keep up with the rest of the guns in this game. Like, there are legitimate benefits to the rarity system, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, do we really need all of these complicated systems in the game in order to do that?
Absolutely not.
Weapons boasting rarity with power levels, you can continue to increase your gun's damage potential however you choose. Every gun has a path to become an uber weapon. Every gun.
Now, if Treyarch does decide for whatever reason to remove weapon rarities for their next game, I think it makes perfect sense to just have Pack-a-Punch handle all of that weapon scaling again. Because in my opinion, that would leave players with fewer mandatory upgrades they have to do every single game, and it still gives salvage a purpose in this game.
Every gun.
And I definitely do think that Treyarch can find a way to simplify this system. It just depends on how they decide to execute on it. But I would also like to know what you guys think in the comments. Like, do you think weapon rarities should stay in zombies? And if they should Treyarch redesign them or keep them the way they are? Or do you think weapon rarities should be completely removed and just have Pack-a-Punch do everything again? But honestly, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments, and because it would be really cool to see some of your guys' suggestions on what they could do about the rarity system. And if you guys did enjoy this discussion, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. All right, see ya.